Hi everyone, welcome back to Quirky Pineapples. If you're new here, I'm Vina, a plant-based recipe developer and food blogger, and today I'm showing you 3 one-pot 30-minute dinners that you can make throughout the week. Now, I've made these dinners quite a few times. I love making them, 1, because they're simple, and 2, because they're absolutely delicious. And for a family of 2, like myself, we tend to have a pretty good amount of leftovers with at least 2 of the meals. Just an FYI, before we get started, you can find the recipes in the description box below. Let's get going. First up is my sweet potato chili recipe. You'll need kidney beans, black beans, red bell pepper, yellow bell pepper, orange bell pepper. You'll need some diced canned tomatoes, a sweet potato, red or yellow onion, garlic cloves, and some chili seasoning. First, we're going to start out by dicing all of our ingredients. Of course, if you know that you're going to make this meal ahead of time, you could do some ingredient prep and have all of this chopped up before you plan to make it. So I'm just going to dice up my sweet potatoes, my onions, and then cut up all of those bell peppers and mince the garlic before heating up my pan. So now that my pot is nice and hot, I'm going to add in some oil and get my onions and my bell peppers started on cooking down. I like to start with the onions a little bit first before adding in the peppers, just to get them to sweat a little bit. And then what I'll do is cook this down until my onions are translucent and my bell peppers have started to soften a little bit. Then it's time to add in my garlic and let that cook down for a little bit before adding in my chili seasoning. I usually like to coat everything in the chili seasoning before adding in the rest of the ingredients. I don't know why, it's just a thing that I like to do to make sure it's combined. Then I'm going to add in my sweet potatoes, give that a little stir to coat, and then it's time to add in my tomatoes, my canned tomatoes, and then equal part of water, which is about a cup of water. Then my kidney beans, my black beans, and then I give it a good stir just to make sure that everything is combined, especially with the seasonings. And then I'm gonna leave that to simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes until my sweet potatoes have softened. When it's time to serve it up, I usually like to add in a little bit of either vegan sour cream or vegan yogurt. In this case, I'm using plain yogurt, and I like to top it off with some cilantro and some green onions. On occasion, I might add in some vegan cheese, but not this time. And then I made some hot water cornbread to eat on the side. I just love how vibrant and flavorful this is. Next is my Thai curry dumpling soup. So you'll need some dumplings, some coconut milk, a lime, some edamame for protein, some soy sauce, veggie broth, some red Thai curry paste, a little bit of agave or maple syrup, some ginger and garlic, bok choy, and a red pepper, and some green onion, also cilantro. To a hot pot, I'm going to add in some neutral oil and then add in those red peppers to get them started cooking down. Then I'm going to add in my garlic and my ginger, and then I'm gonna let that cook down until things start to become fragrant, which is really quickly, so like a minute or two. Then I'm gonna add in that Thai red curry paste, and I usually like to let this cook in just a little bit, so I'm gonna stir it in with the ingredients. Then it's time to add the coconut milk along with the veggie broth, and I also like to add in my water at this time as well. I'm gonna add in my soy sauce and my agave syrup or maple syrup, whichever you'd like to use. And then I like to give it a good stir until I don't see any more of the curry paste chunks left in the broth. So I give it a good stir, and then I add in my edamame beans so that those can cook. And then I just let this come to a simmer until I start to see it boil. Once it starts boiling, then I'll add in those dumplings. Now I cooked mine a little bit ahead of time, but you don't have to do this. You can just cook it in the broth for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then I like to add in my bok choy absolutely last, just to give it a light cook down. This has become one of our favorite meals to make, especially a quick one during the week. I like to just serve this up with maybe a little bit of chili oil, not too much because I don't want it to be too spicy. And then I top it with some green onion and some cilantro. And I would not skip this step. Definitely squeeze on a little bit of lime juice or a lot of it of lime juice. It definitely brightens up the flavors. All right, and finally my Harissa Gnocchi with Soyrizo. So you'll need coconut milk, some spinach, you'll need some sun-dried tomatoes, harissa paste, a shallot, some garlic, red pepper, veggie broth. Of course, you'll need gnocchi, some Soyrizo, and some nutritional yeast. I usually like to start out by browning my gnocchi in butter first, mostly because I kind of like the crisp that it gives to the gnocchi, but this step is completely optional. You could throw in your gnocchi at the end of cooking. But to start, I'm going to pour in some of that sun-dried tomato oil and cook down my shallots and my red peppers. Then I'm going to add in those sun-dried tomatoes and cook it down for just a little bit and allow everything to become fragrant. Then I'm going to add my garlic and give that a bit of a stir. I do a lot of stirring, I realize. Then I'm going to add in that chorizo or the Soyrizo to brown it up a little bit. I used an organic brand that I got from Sprouts, but I usually like to use the Abbott's brand, but you could use whichever brand you like. Then I'm gonna add in that harissa paste and get everything combined before adding in the coconut milk. If you don't want to use coconut milk, you could probably use cashew cream as well. And then I'm going to stir that up and let it simmer until adding in my nutritional yeast, which I go very heavy-handed on the nutritional yeast. I like that cheesy flavor that it gives, and of course the added protein. And then lastly, I'll add in the spinach to let that wilt and cook down. That doesn't take very long, of course. And then once the spinach has cooked down, I'm going to add the gnocchi back to the pan, and I'm gonna let that cook for just about maybe 5 minutes or so, just for the gnocchi to get warm again or hot again, because it will have cooled on the side. But again, you don't have to pre-cook your gnocchi. I just love this dish because I feel like it checks all the boxes. It's filling, it's creamy, it's flavorful. We've got our greens in there. And then I usually like to just top this off with a little bit of vegan Parmesan, and then it's good to go. Right, and there you have it. 3 very simple recipes that you can make in 30 minutes using just one pot. I really love these recipes. I really hope that you found them to be helpful, that they give you some inspiration throughout your busy work week or busy school week. And if you are looking for any more delicious plant-based recipes, don't forget to check out quirkypineapples.com. And if you are new to this whole vegan and plant-based journey, I do have a plant-based grocery guide that I will link in the description box below, along with all of the information about these particular recipes. Thanks so much for joining me again, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.